Governments and states are now issuing money to the poor, free money, quote unquote, to the poor, $750 to poor individuals. And they're telling us that there are no strings attached. Is that so? We're going to be addressing that. And today I say, frankly, vote no to this system of slavery. Vote no to this universal basic income, this guaranteed basic income. Vote no to socialism. Is it possible that a movement disguised as caring for the poor will actually lead to destroying our livelihood and enslaving the masses? That is a fact based on the scriptures. In John 12, verse 4 through verse 6, the betrayer, Judas Iscariot, claimed to care for the poor, give money, assistance to the poor. But what did Christ call him? Christ called him a thief. So be careful of these movements. To care for the poor, they will rob us of our livelihood and enslave the masses. Let's get right into it. Greetings, salutations to Safe to Serve International and first-time viewers. Welcome to this midday power surge, your spiritual oasis on this pilgrim journey. I'm your host, Andrew Henriquez. Let's get into it, friends. Here it is. Fresh off the press, June 2024. Guaranteed basic income programs spread across the country. Is it coming to your city? The GBI programs have become a trend across the U.S. in recent years, with more than 100 guaranteed basic income pilots launched since 2018. Headline: this state just inched closer to giving every resident a $750 universal basic income each year with no strings attached. I don't care what they say. As the idiom goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. I don't care what they say. There are strings attached. It might not be visible to most people, but the strings, the invisible strings, are actually present. Now notice, why are they rolling out this GBI, UBI? They say to care for the poor and paupers. Listen.
Pilot programs testing out guaranteed income are popping up around the country as local governments look for new ways to address poverty in their regions. The programs provide select people with a monthly, no-strings-attached stipend. And according to an article from Insider, these programs are actually working.
You see, friends, I want to reason with all of you today. I'm not against paupers, the poor, receiving a financial boost in the short term. Not against that. But the GBI, which is, again, and from here on out, I'll be saying GBI and UBI. The GBI, a guaranteed basic income. UBI, universal basic income. This is actually financial assistance indefinitely. No end date. No end date. There is a better way to assist paupers, the poor, and I'm going to be addressing that very shortly. Stay tuned. And the point of this is simply that this GBI and UBI movement will actually lead to further pauperism and lead to slavery. It is going to destroy the middle class and leave only the rich and the poor. It will only leave the elite, and the rest of the population will become paupers and slaves. I'm going to replay this just for emphasis and listen to who is doing this and who is giving out free money. That's what it is, free money. Listen again attentively. Watch.
Pilot programs testing out guaranteed income are popping up around the country as local governments look for new ways to address poverty in their regions. The programs provide select people with a monthly, no strings attached stipend. And according to an article from Insider, these programs are actually working.
May I ask you a question? Where do states get money from to give to the poor? Evangelist Ryan, thank you. Where do states get money from to give to the poor? We just heard it from the studio. They get the money from taxpayers. They get money from taxing individuals. Now think about this for a minute. Please, let us reason together. States get money simply from property tax. That's one way. So how could you be okay with actually robbing from the innocent taxpayers, robbing from the innocent to care for the poor? If you increase taxes to care for poor and paupers, what happens to the people you just increased taxes on? Would they not have less buying power? Would they not one day become poor and become paupers? Government dependent? It's a system of slavery. And anybody who favors raising taxes on one class, which is robbing from one class, not the tyrants now, no, robbing from the innocent to take care of the poor and paupers, you are no different from communists, socialists, tyrants, and scoundrels. That's your mindset. That's your mindset. You see, friends, let's reason. If the states had a money tree somewhere, and that money tree bears, as a literal tree bears mangoes, and they simply give the poor money, that's one thing. But that's not how the states receive money and revenue. If the states had some vault, some deep hole where they have an excess surplus of gold and silver, and they can easily offer funds to the poor and needy. That's one thing, but again, that is not how states receive funds. And when you raise taxes on the middle class suffers. And what are we going to have? The fulfillment of Revelation 13, verse 16 through verse 17. Only two classes, small and great. Yes, rich and poor, free and bond. That's it. I'm going to roll out a scenario to you right now. If I stole or took from you $10 without your knowledge, follow the bouncing ball. If I took $10 from you without your knowledge, and one day I see you and I say, listen, I'm going to offer you $5 as a gift. May I ask you a question? Was that really a gift? You say, no, why not? Because the $5 I'm offering you is actually your money. Think about it. Think about it. So when the states actually rob from the innocent and turn around and say, I'm giving you free money, is it really free? No. They stole that money from somewhere else and somebody else. Understand what's happening here. Let me give you another scenario. If I go and I print money as the government, what happens to the money supply? The money supply will then create what is called inflation. That means what you could do with $1 today, you can't do with it tomorrow. You have less buying power. Is that really helpful? It's not helpful. It's robbery. If the government now goes and borrow money from countries, and then say, come now, you poor people, here's a handout, it's free. Question, since the government borrowed that money, will they know how to pay it back? So what must the states and governments do to pay that loan back? They have to raise taxes. So is that money free? It's not. Question, are there strings attached? Yes, they are. They're lying to you. Do not be deceived. So what we need to do is to address the policies that have led to poverty and pauperism. You see, friends, we have become a people who lack critical thinking. The people out there lack critical thinking, and that's why you Safe to Serve International. We here on this platform, we have to go and educate them and warn them and instruct them. We must begin to address the mindset, what did I say? The mindset that leads to poverty and pauperism, indolence, laziness, looking for a handout. That's what we must address. Now, let's interrogate the so-called policy of GBI and UBI. States giving out $750 to all poor people. Question, where would they get that money from? I gave you my suggestion or my perspective. Here it is in print. They are going to tax corporations. Watch this. Look at what this says. Red words. Oregon, that's the Beaver State, June 25th, 2024. Oregon, the Beaver State, will be the first in the country to implement a UBI program that would put cash in residents' pockets by what? By taxing corporations. Guaranteed GBI has become an increasingly popular poverty solution strategy in U.S. cities, taxing corporations. Stop it right there. Again, where do states get money from to give out free money? So-called free money. Robbery. Where? They say in print, taxing corporations. Question. What's going to happen when this is indefinite? Will this not ultimately lead to mom and pop stores paying higher taxes, business taxes, property taxes? Will many of them go belly up bankrupt and shutter their doors? Close their business? Of course. So this scheme is actually a scheme, pun intended. Robbery and theft, destroying the middle class. It is going to cause companies to close their doors. Think about this. Then who is going to control the markets? It's what we call monopoly. Not that board game Monopoly. That's simply the example. But in real life monopoly, where the tyrants, the scoundrels control the markets, control the financial sector. They just said, we'll tax the corporations to give you free money. Watch this. Do you really believe the companies are fools? The CEOs and CFOs and CO? No, CO, no. Do you know what they will do? They will raise their prices on goods and services and pass along and down that tax from the states and government down to the consumer. So who wins in that scenario? Who wins? So now, today, the government and states give you $750, right? $750. And the $750 may and might be able to meet this limit. But notice, as the scheme continues, your $750 is now worth $650. Follow my drift. And $650 is now worth $550 in 2 months from now. If the Lord tarries, a year from now, $550? Even at $750, it's like you only have $250. Even though they gave you $750, months from now, it's as if they only gave you $150. Because the money buying power is devaluing. Why we can't see that? It's robbery. So what are we to address? Take a look at this. What are we to address? The policies and the mindset that leads to slavery, that leads to pauperism and poverty. Look what this says here. Oregon, headline. UBI is close to being a reality in one state. The state of Oregon would become the first state in America to create a UBI program. Watch now. And pave the way for other states to follow. Stop right there. Since what I just said is clear for those who want to see it. So what is going to begin in Oregon and then go through all the states in America? It's financial slavery. That's what it is. Financial slavery. Look at this right here. Investopedia. Does printing money cause inflation? Because I know, come back here, I know some people are going to say, but the government can print money. Come on, Henriquez. They will say, retorting, the government can print money. Watch this. Who prints the money? Is it not the Fed? Who owns the Fed? Huh? These are private bankers. Okay. So when we print more money, what happens? Number one, inflation. Watch this. Does printing money cause inflation? First paragraph. Yes, of course. Of course. As more money is circulating within the economy, economic growth is more likely to occur at the risk of price destabilization. Last paragraph. Inflation is a gradual loss of purchasing power, reflected in a broad rise in prices for goods and services over time. My friends, you are going to spend more for what you could buy today. Now watch this. Say, here is the government. Let's print more money, or let's go borrow from the Fed. The Fed is run by private bankers. Yeah. And that means you're borrowing from bankers while you say you're printing money. Who must pay that back? Come on. Who must pay that back? And how will the government pay that back? They have to raise taxes. See my point now? So who wins? It's slavery. So could it be the central bankers are also behind this scheme? That's the question. Now look at the trend headline. It's time for universal basic income to be implemented. It's a trend. Will UBI save us from AI, artificial intelligence? Here is Elon Musk. We need to expect, not doubt, expect a coming UBI. It's not if, it's a matter of when. Here it is, clip 1 of 3.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. Okay. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice.
Universal basic income.
Universal basic income. I think it's going to be necessary.
So it means that unemployed people will be paid across the globe.
Yeah.
No choice. It's coming. Clip 4.
And I want to be clear that these are not things that I think that I wish would happen. These are simply things that I think probably will happen.
Friends, note this. The universal basic income is actually socialism. And socialism is slavery. How on earth could this have come to America? Did we not launch a global campaign to overthrow the former USSR? What does that stand for? Socialism, right? Communism. And the same principles of communism, socialism, are now being rolled out in America? What a deception. Clip 1, watch this. This is in the UK. UBI, socialism. They actually say it in Parliament in the UK. Not something I'm conjecturing. Listen to this from the horse's mouth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the matter of whatever it takes more than 3-word slogans.
And if you can't make out what he's saying, read the transcript of his words at the bottom.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the matter of whatever it takes more than 3-word slogans. Yes. Is what I would say to the Prime Minister. And in this case, it actually takes a bit of war socialism. We need to get money into the pockets of the workers. Has he seen EDM 302, which I've proposed, about bringing in a temporary universal basic income to support workers and get money where it's actually needed?
Exactly. Friends, it is socialism. And the second point I'm going to make is this. The UBI or GBI, whichever one, is going to make people second-class citizens. What does that mean? They'll treat you as cattle. And that has nothing to do with the color of your skin or your race. All races. Watch this, clip 2. Listen attentively and watch.
Problem with the UBI, there's a couple of problems with the UBI. One is you're creating a slippery slide transfer straight into socialism, right? The moment people can start voting themselves money combined with a democracy, then it's just a matter of time before the bottom 51 votes themselves everything in the top 49.
Yes.
And
stay right there. Socialism.
Let's do The Guardian now with a solution to the massive number of people out of work. Just give them free money forever.
Yeah, which is, this is in The Guardian. We'd like to give out free money, not theirs, basically. But it's the universal basic income.
Do you realize that, friends? He said, give them free money, but it's never the money from the tyrants. Don't let that slip. I'll come back to it. Next clip. Listen.
Go on, Paul.
Well, it is socialism, isn't it?
It is.
It's very much socialism. I mean,
It's socialism. Exactly what it is. And the UBI will make you useless. Useless citizens. Why? It leads to indolence for the most part. Pardon me. Watch this. Here is Musk.
I think the biggest. I think we'll just end up doing universal basic income. It's going to be necessary. The harder challenge, much harder challenge, is how do people then have meaning? Like a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. So if you don't have, if you're not needed, if there's not a need for your labor, how do you? What's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
Is that clear, friends? Because remember, work, my friends, that word, W-O-R-K, labor, that word, L-A-B-O-R, labor, work, was given to man before sin. That's Genesis 2:15. Because work is a part of character and usefulness, not uselessness. After sin, God also gave man work. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 19. By the sweat of thy brow, you will eat bread. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. Now again, this UBI and GBI, because some people miss what I say, so let me be redundant. I'm not opposed to giving some people a financial boost in the short term. But to make poor people dependent on the government indefinitely, it is slavery. That's what that is. That's what I'm against. Does that make sense now? Look what the Bible says here. The GBI and the UBI will make people lazy. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. Verse 8, allow me to read. Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, mercy, but wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable to any of you. Not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example and sample unto you to follow us. Verse 10, for even when we were with you, this we did command you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busy bodies. And if you don't work, take care of yourself and others, especially men. You are worse than an infidel, the Bible says. Grown men, able-bodied men, not crippled, not incapacitated. They want to become lazy. and stay home and play video games. By the way, video games. Let me get to that. Watch carefully what this man said. You become useless. You lose, you lose your value in life with a GBI and UBI. Watch and listen.
Country. Another issue with UBI is that people who are down in their luck, they're not looking for handouts. It's not just about money. It's also about status. It's about meaning. And the moment I start giving money to you and put you on the dole, I've lowered your status. I've made you a second-class citizen. So I have to give you meaning. And meaning comes through education and capability. You have to teach a man to fish, not to basically throw your rotting leftover carcasses at him and say, here, eat the scraps. So it doesn't solve the meaning problem.
Mercy. And those of you who favor, remember, those of you who favor the GBI and UBI indefinitely, long term, you are no different than tyrants and scoundrels. You are a thief because you are supporting the government, robbing from the innocent to care for the poor. And what is the end goal? The elites become monopoly owners. You are actually complicit to enslaving your own people. Here is the video from Yuval Harari talking about useless people. AI will lead to that. Automation will lead to that. The UBI and GBI will lead to that. Useless people.
Yes, in the Industrial Revolution, we saw the creation of a new class of the urban proletariat, and much of the political and social history of the last 200 years involved what to do with this class and the new problems and opportunities. Now, we see the creation of a new massive class of useless people. As computers become better and better in more and more fields, there is a distinct possibility that computers will outperform us in most tasks and will make humans redundant. And then the big political and economic question of the 21st century will be, what do we need humans for? Or at least, what do we need so many humans for?
What? With a straight face, he made that statement during that TED talk. Now notice, he was asked by the host, do you have any solutions in your book for some of those useless people? Meaning those who remain, because we have to get rid of some of them. Why do we need so many useless people? You see the agenda here, friends? And yet you want to stone me. He says, give them drugs and video games. Watch this.
For.
Do you have an answer in the book?
At present, the best guess we have is keep them happy with drugs and computer games. But this...
You see it? And we have many grown men, able-bodied. They don't want to work. They want UBI and GBI. And what do they stay home and play? What's it called? Thank you. Grand Theft Auto, video games. Slaves don't even know it. And many of them are going to be awakened when it is too late. Clip 3. These people are useless, he says.
Do you have an answer in the book?
And first, notice, sometimes I wish I would get a hearing in these conferences. Later on, I'm going to give you from God's word what the solution is for poor people and paupers. I'm going to give you the solutions. But before I get to that point, is there something I could insert as a solution? Friends, let's take a look at this. Who is actually behind the UBI movement? Here's the Pope. Headline, pandemic. Yes. It's time to consider a UBI. That's what the Pope says. So he's saying, let us implement the UBI because the pestilence 19 pandemic has caused people to become poor, remain poor, and folks to become government dependent. So now implement the UBI. Now watch this. Where would they get that money from? Follow the bouncing ball. Please, please don't miss it. Where would they get that money from? Do you realize it's never their money? It's always robbing from the innocent to give to the so-called poor, which leads to everybody becoming poor and they become masters of the world. Here's my point. We must tell them, if I were in the audience, I would say, vote no to printing more money. We know what that will cause. Poverty and slavery. Vote no to borrowing money. Vote no to raising taxes on companies and individuals. Vote no. But vote yes to tax the Vatican. Since the Pope is saying we must roll out UBI and give free money to the poor, let's start with him. Do you agree with me? If you agree with me, type in the chat. Let the Pope fund UBI. Type it in. Pope, you fund UBI. Let's start right there. And let's see now start back shuffling. Let every nation vote. Let the Vatican fund the UBI program. Don't they claim to have all the gold and silver at the Vatican in their vaults? The Fed is actually, and the Rothschilds, they are the treasurers of Vatican wealth. Let the Vatican fund the UBI. If you care so much for the poor, put your pocketbook, your wallet, your credit card, the gold and silver where your mouth is, Mr. Pope, Mr. Antichrist. Let's start right there. And if he says, well, in so many words, no, then you will realize the deception. You see, they want your money. They want to rob the poor, destroy the middle class. And even if they give some at the beginning, they won't continue. They only start to deceive the rest of the nations. Let the Pope foot the bill. As if you're going to a restaurant, order all the food. And then say, waiter, go over there to that table. Bill the Pope. Send all the poor to the Vatican. Go over there. Let him fund it. That's one solution. Start right there. You know, friends, Christ is always the example, right? Whatever the true Christ says must be done. He actually walks the talk. Amen. He walks the talk. That's it. But not the Antichrist. Look at this right here, friends. And what does the Pope say? This man actually stated, you don't have the right to private property. You see it now? Your private property is not absolute, is not untouchable. We can use it for the poor. So, Mr. Pope, let's start with your property. Let's start with the Vatican's property. You never hear him doing that. Next, in their actual documents, he actually says the state can take away goods, property from individuals to give to the poor. What do you call that? Theft. But the Pope says it's not theft. You may pause the video and read all of that. Yeah. Let's do it for the common good. And the Pope says we can also use violence to do that. Violence. Now, just imagine if I'm standing in these conferences and they are arguing and debating, rolling out UBI and GBI. I would raise my hand. May I come to the microphone? And I would ask, who else is promoting GBI and UBI globally? And I would show the WEF is promoting that. Klaus Schwab and the WEF. Do you know who else? Bill Floodgates. Do you know who else? Dr. Fauci. Wait a minute. Why do they say we all need UBI and GBI? Listen now. You all said people are more poor. They're now paupers because of the pestilence 19 pandemic. Wait a minute now. Who made all the money? Because of the pestilence. Big Pharma, right? Okay. So if you are all promoting the GBI and the UBI, then let Big Pharma pay the bill. Don't print no money. Don't print any money. Fix that up. Don't borrow any money. Amen. Don't tax businesses. Amen. Don't raise home taxes. Yes. Land taxes on individuals. Let Big Pharma pay the bill. Let Pfizer pay the bill. Let Moderna pay the bill. What's the other one called? Oxford, AstraZeneca, pay the bill. Johnson & Johnson, pay the bill. They made all the money. You all said we're in poverty now? Let them pay the bill. Oh, that's the point here. Give me the microphone. Let me talk in the conference. There it is right there. Who is calling for UBI and GBI? WEF. You see it, friends? It's right there. The WEF. Let Klaus Schwab fill the bill. Let him pay the bill. Why the innocent? Who shut down the whole world? People could not travel. People could not work. Who did that? Antonio Gutierrez. WHO Tedros. Let them pay the bill. You fund the UBI. You fund the GBI. With what? With what? With all the billions you all made. On the backs of people. You pay the bill. Don't come to us as states. It's your problem. You caused that. Is that not what the Bible says? If a man's ox killed somebody, what must the owner do? The owner is responsible for remuneration. What does civil law say? If you're found guilty of hurting, destroying someone's livelihood and someone's life, then you are responsible. Who caused businesses, mom and pop stores, to close? Tedros, Gutierrez, Fauci, Bill Floodgates. Who else? Big Pharma. Let them pay the bill. Let them pay the bill. Again, let them pay the bill. But no. It's always spending someone else's money. That's robbery, all in the name of caring for the poor. They are Judas Iscariot. Let the Pope pay the bill. That Jesuit over there talking about you have no right to your private property. Let them pay the bill. I'm going to keep saying that as a song. So when this is over, you will hear the voice ringing in your ears. Let them pay the bill. Let them pay the bill. Let them pay the bill. Those tyrants and scoundrels and those diabolical demon-possessed people. Let them pay the bill. Give me the microphone. Let me talk in the conferences. Watch this. UK farmers. UK farmers. As I roll this, you will see the UK farmers are calling for UBI because they are falling behind financially. Farmers, no food.
Themselves. That's crazy. It is ridiculous that we're having to sacrifice things as farmers in order to grow food to sell at ridiculous prices.
She's part of a group called Basic Income for Farmers, demanding agricultural workers get a guaranteed wage.
A basic.
Clip 2, stay right there.
The campaign group says a huge number of UK farms were only able to stay afloat thanks to EU subsidies, and they're worried that the government's scheme to replace that cash doesn't go far enough. Add that to pressures like inflation, the cost of energy bills, seasonal workers and pressure from supermarkets all mean farmers are really struggling.
Look at this.
Last month, the Go Slow convoy of tractors drove around Westminster in protest about the handling of post-Brexit trade deals.
Do you see it, friends? It's the policies of the government that has caused farmers, small farmers, to go belly up. And now they're saying, here's my handout, where's my handout, here's my hand, where's my handout? UBI, GBI, where must we start? Start with the policies. Give me the microphone in these conferences. Okay, Whose policies destroyed the small farmers? Oh, it's your policy? You pay the bill. It's very simple. Let's vote. That's what we're voting for. Let them pay the bill. Let's go to court. Let's seize their property. Let's liquidate their property and assets and get the funds and pay. Yes, the small farmers. That is a wonderful UBI. What do you say? That's payback. Let them pay the bill. And we can apply this to the Netherlands. Tractor trailers protesting the policies that have left them without a salary and a livelihood and no farms. What we need to say, we don't want UBI money coming from the poor and the innocent and the middle class. Innocent people, no, let's take the money from the tyrants. Let them pay the bill. You caused this, then you solve it. Your money, your assets. And you will see them start changing their tune. The people don't realize they have the power. People, you have the power to cause change. It's in your hands. Just as you have the power to bring about the mark of the beast, you also have the power to make changes financially. You have the power. Don't let them deceive you. Unite. But of course, I'm just saying this because ultimately it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's why there has to be another solution, even a better solution, because tyrants will not let go of power. Will not let go. It's very simple. If I took $10 from you without your knowledge, my previous analogy, and I turn around and give you $5 as a gift, was it really a gift? If I go to Richard, Caesar, Carlos, and Jared and borrow $10 each, I have $40. It's not my money, it's their money. But I turn around and give, I don't know, give Sanchez $10 as a gift. He may look at me as a great benefactor. Oh, Pastor, you're a great philanthropist. You're so kind. You made a wonderful sacrifice, Pastor, to give me this gift of $10. Pity he doesn't even know. It's not my money. It's Jared's, Richard's, Caesar, and Carlos. What a deception, friends. And I get all the praise. It's the same system. It's not their money. It's the innocent's money. But you say, oh, they love us. Oh, what a good government. Oh, they love us. Love you? They love you? Friends, the next thing I'm going to say should shake you up. Do you know the next justification to roll out the UBI and the GBI is actually this? We need GBI and UBI because of illegal immigrants. What? So could this be an actual plot? Let's bring in the illegals and then say they're poor, they're paupers. Now we need UBI and take away money from the innocent. Destroy the middle class. Next point. And then, here it is now. Then they say, all of you paupers and poor, to get your $750 or even $1,000, you have to receive it in digital currency. That's the nail in your coffin. Could this be the way to roll out the CBDC? Make everybody poor. Economic crisis. And now here's a gift, but to get this gift, CBDC. And many people who were once against CBDC, to get that money, what would they do? Here's my hand. Give it to me. What do I have to do to get it? Bow my knee? Give up true worship? Sell my soul? My child is hungry. My wife is hungry. I am hungry. Whatever it takes, I'll bow my knee. I'll sell my soul. Just give me the money. Beloved, that's exactly what Jesus encountered. In Matthew chapter 4, verse 8 through verse 10. What did Satan say to Christ? Look at the kingdoms and the glory of them. All these things will I give unto you, if you fall down and worship me. You see it now? That's it. So they must control commerce, merchandise in the world to bring about the mark of the beast. False worship by law. Am I ready for it? Are you ready for it? Here it is. This is in Pennsylvania. This judge suggests illegal immigrants could receive UBI. Watch and listen to this video. Not the best quality video, but listen attentively. UBI for illegal immigrants. Watch this.
And so what we can do is we pick the 10 poorest neighborhoods. Can the undocumented community apply? If the county attorney says they can, they will. If the county attorney says they can't, they won't. What I was told is they can. But if we're...
Do you see it? Yeah. Now watch this. Could it also be they're bringing the illegal immigrants into the nation, open border policy, and then they say, you know what? We cannot surveil and track all these people. They're crossing the borders. Where are they? We don't know. You know what? It's time to roll out the digital ID system. You don't even know what's coming. And you are playing games with your salvation. You're delaying the work of preparation. Let me come on the last leg and close. My point has been made. Watch this, friends. Money for nothing. UBI. Money for nothing. In the next 8 paragraphs, I'm going to confirm the UBI is socialism, which will lead to the mark of the beast. You may pause the video and mentally consume these slides. Watch carefully. This is church historian A.T. Jones. If you propose giving people money for nothing, that's socialism. Listen to this.
Let's see The Guardian now with a solution to the massive number of people out of work. Just give them free money forever.
Yeah, which is...
No such thing as free money. And then A.T. Jones write, remember, he stood before Congress. We are the modern day A.T. Jones. Why not go on and pay the worker full wages every day for doing nothing? If you can pay the worker a full wage for working half the amount of time, then pay him a full wage for doing nothing. Take a look at this. And A.T. Jones said that same bill paying a working man a full wage for not working was linked to Senator Blair's Sunday law bill in Congress. What? Yes. You can see it now. All these things will I give unto you if you fall down and worship. It's clear now for those who want to see it. UBI will lead to the mark of the beast. But first, make everybody government dependent. Have you ever heard this idiom colloquial saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you? Have you ever heard that? Huh? Please talk to me. I can't hear you. And people now who are dependent on the system. Let me sit up straight. Do you think those people who have become paupers of the government will ever publicly rise up and protest against government tyranny? I can't hear you. Will they ever do that? You said no? Why not? Because to protest against government tyranny, they will not get their next $750. Oh, I have your attention now. So the UBI is buying your silence. The GBI is making you compromise. The UBI to silence your protest. No man is going to do that when they know it's the government that's feeding him. He'll whisper against their tyranny in private, but never publicly. And silence in the face of evil is evil itself. Do I have your attention now? Do I have your attention now? Okay, wonderful. Does God have your attention? It was silence to protest because you're government dependent. Wake up! All right, let me move on here. It's called socialism, A.T. Jones. It's called slavery. Don't buy the hand that feeds you. And the government will feed you. Even Thomas Paine promoted UBI. Thomas Paine? Yes. Martin Luther King Jr. promoted UBI. The Black Panther Party promoted UBI. Imagine that. This has nothing to do with race. It is a false policy. Slavery. What? Yes. There it is. Thomas Paine. In the Bible, what happened in chapter 47 of Genesis? The people sold their bodies just to get food from the government. They became government slaves. They sold their land. They sold their bodies. We'll become slaves to Pharaoh just to get food. You think they would turn around and protest against Pharaoh? Hey, don't be deceived. Do you think they'll say, come on, big government? We want freedoms. You want what? They say, shut your mouth before we cut off your money supply. Sit down, you good old slave, and be quiet. All right. You want protest on YouTube. You want protest on Facebook. You want protest on Instagram or on X. You won't. Mr. Musk once said, I allow these things on my platform because the government has not said otherwise. Oh, what? So whenever big government say otherwise, then whatever they say will be implemented on X. Wake up. Wake up. They bowed the knee to get food from Jacob, from Egypt, down there with Joseph. Friends, I'm going to close right here. I can't go any further. My time is up. But I must say this. Slavery is coming. The scripture is there. Give it to them, preacher. Slavery is coming. Now, friends, I'm going to point you to a book. What did I do today? I did not get the chance to get into more solutions. But friends, I'm going to invite you to get this book called The Ministry of Healing. On page 183, the chapter is entitled Help for the Unemployed and Homeless. What a practical book and chapter. Help for the unemployed and the homeless. The solution is right here. Not UBI and not GBI. Look at that right here. The government leaders, last sentence, those who hold the reins of government, they are unable, what does that mean? Unable to solve the problem of poverty. Pauperism, oh yes. Increasing crime. They are struggling in vain to place business operations on a more secure basis. Let me close with this. I'm going to close with an analogy. Many people will receive UBI out of fear. Fear. This is an illustration of a mouse that was surrounded with food and grains. Look at this illustration. And the moral of this illustration is short-term pleasures will lead to long-term traps. Watch this.
A mouse was put at the top of a jar filled with grains. He was so happy to find so much food around him that he no longer felt the need to run around searching for food. After a few days of enjoying the grains, he reached the bottom of the jar, realizing that he was trapped and unable to escape. He now has to fully depend on someone to put grains in the jar for him to survive. He also has no choice but to eat what he's given. Moral of the story: short-term pleasures can lead to long-term traps. Nothing comes easily in life, and if it does, maybe it's not worth it. So don't curse your struggles. They are your blessings in disguise.
Mercy. Was that a kneel in a sure place? I wish I had one more hour to give you my part two. Read that. By the way, I'm going to put the link to that chapter in the comment section, the pinned comment below in the description. Read that chapter. Help for the unemployed and the homeless. I close. Remember the 5 keys of survival. They are essential to get ready for these last days. Conversion, country living, country property, food, water, your own resources on your property. Number 4, evangelism, ministry, industry, not tied to the government, waiting for a handout. And number 5, assisting those who are less fortunate, the bartering system. With that chapter in the book Ministry of Healing, read Mark chapter 14 and verse 17. Mark chapter 14 and verse 7. I close. Please, one more time, preacher. It's a powerful lesson to end on. Listen.
A mouse was put at the top of a jar filled with grains. He was so happy to find so much food around him that he no longer felt the need to run around searching for food. After a few days of enjoying the grains, he reached the bottom of the jar, realizing that he was trapped and unable to escape. He now has to fully depend on someone to put grains in the jar for him to survive. He also has no choice but to eat what he's given. Moral of the story: short-term pleasures can lead to long-term traps. Nothing comes easily in life, and if it does, maybe it's not worth it. So don't curse your struggles. They are your blessings in disguise.
Interesting, friends. Interesting that right now, are we live? That right now, imagine what greens, the same analogy, that mouse represents who? Those on GBI and UBI, those who are paupers in the long term. Imagine what greens the government will feed them. GMO grains? You mean food grown in laboratories that lead to cancer? Oh, I don't eat pork. Well, it's pork on the menu today. I don't eat lobster. Well, it's lobster. I don't eat puppies and dogs. Well, it's cats and kittens and dogs and birds on the menu. Bugs and locusts and what's that one? And worms. By God's grace, I'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern for Midday Power Surge. You know what to do with this if you were blessed. Freely as you have received, freely you should give. The Lord is soon to come, and the protest continues.